It was a dark, rainy day on the Little Western. Duck, Toad, the Caledonians and myself were stuck at Aldborough West due to the bad weather. So Richard had cancelled all trains for that day.
'Tis a pity all trains have been cancelled for today.
It is. There's nothing to do.
I know. How about one of us tell a story?
An excellent idea, Oliver. But what shall the story be about?
Oh, Mr. Oliver, how about you tell them a story about the last few days on our old line?
I'm definitely invested in your story, Oliver. I had always wondered if you and I had worked on the same line on the Great Western.
Well then, here's my story. Here was the story I told. The year was 1966. Toad and myself were the only two left working on the line. Not much work had been given to me. You know what, Toad?
What is it, Mr. Oliver?
Our railway hasn't seen much business ever since diesel power became more present.
You're right, Mr. Oliver. It's sad we've barely had any passengers or goods on the line. Poor Miss Isabel hasn't been out to the shed in a while.
Look, there goes another one of those diesels pulling what could have been my goods train.
Don't worry, Mr. Oliver. I'm sure we'll have work soon. Look, here's the manager.
Ah, number 1436. I see you're in steam. I was hoping you weren't. I mean, there's a small goods train bound for the end of the line. Only vans and a couple of wagons. It ain't much, but it's work.
Yes, sir. Right away.
Also, take that brake van with you. Frog, or whatever you call him.
My name is Toad, sir.
Yes, Toad. Whatever. 1436, please collect your train.
Ugh, that man is horrid.
Yeah, my old manager dislikes steam engines, especially since I was the only one on the line. I arrived at the yard. My manager said there weren't many trucks on the goods train. I wasn't going to believe him. Not a whole lot of goods to take with us.
Don't worry, Mr. Oliver. Maybe the factory where these are going might have a delivery that needs to be taken back here.
You might be right, Toad. I guess we'll find out when we get there. Out on the main line, I had to stop with a signal, when suddenly a loud horn sounded. A huge green diesel pulling a passenger train noticed me on the other line.
Oh, look there. One Great Western engine left still working in their pathetic brake van. It's a shame all your friends are scrapped. It won't be long before you're at the cutter's torch.
Rubbish! I'm still in working order.
Mr. Oliver and I are still really useful, no matter what you or any other real engine says to us.
Yeah, by being the only ones who are still in service, taking up valuable space.
Pah! That's just pure nonsense coming from a tin can diesel.
Grrr. Just you wait. One day I'll personally take you to be scrapped.
I soon arrived at the factory. However, there was bad news from the worker.
I'm sorry, Oliver, but due to some unfortunate events, our factory won't be using steam engines for delivering supplies starting next week. However, there's one last delivery for today. That lone truck over on that siding.
I quickly ran to get the van for the return trip. Toad, notice how miserable I looked.
You're sad, aren't you, Mr. Oliver?
Yes, I am, Toad. Those diesels ruin my chances at having work.
Times are changing, Mr. Oliver. Steam engines are no longer modern, and people think they're not reliable for work.
Toad and I decided to head home after an unsuccessful day of work. I thought that maybe things would change tomorrow. We arrived back looking depressed that nothing went right that day. The next day, we got a rude awakening from the manager.
1436, wake up! Today is your lucky day. I sold you. Your new owners will take good care of you.
You did what? Why, sir?
We're barely staying afloat with business, not making any money. I thought, why not liquidate you and your friends? I heard they'll put your brake van and coach into a museum while you'll be put up for scrap.
You can't separate us, sir. Mr. Oliver and I have been partners for a very long time.
Quiet, Frog! Or whatever your name is.
His name is Toad, sir. And why not keep us together?
Because, Oliver, I think you're unreliable at working, and diesel power is the way to go for this line.
But, sir,
No excuses, Oliver. I expect you and your friends to be out of the yard come tomorrow. In the meantime, you're welcome to shunt in the yard.
Even though I wasn't too happy, at least I kept busy shunting until my time was up.
That's terrible, Oliver. What happened next?
I then got a brilliant idea. Toad, do you remember a while ago there was that pannier tank engine who ran the line with us?
Of course, Mr. Oliver. What was his name? Mallard or something?
I think his name was Duck. Well, I was thinking maybe we could leave this railway together so that we won't be separated.
But where will we go, Mr. Oliver?
To the island of Sodor. Maybe they need another engine to work there. And I'm sure they'll need another coach and brake van to help out on the railway.
Do you think so, Mr. Oliver?
I'm sure. It's better to stick around here and be put into a museum, or I get scrapped.
Did you hear that, Miss Isabel? We'll be going to a new home.
That's wonderful. I miss having passengers aboard me.
Of course, we'll have to keep on the down low. Don't want our rude manager finding out our plan.
When do you think we'll be able to leave?
Hopefully tonight, we can make our great escape to Sodor. Of course, we'll have to be careful on the mainland as there'll be diesels watching for any escapers. So we'll have to travel at night time.
Sounds like a plan, Mr. Oliver, but during the daytime, whenever diesels were on the prowl, where will we hide?
We can find some sidings to hide in until it's all clear. I soon told my crew, and they agreed on the plan. Later that evening, after the manager went home, my driver made a note and placed it on the shed, explaining that they had left the yard for good. After stoking the fire in the firebox, I started my long journey to my new home.
What happened after that? Did any diesels see you?
There were a few close calls. Luckily, no diesels noticed me on the sidings. I unfortunately misjudged the distance and ended up running out of coal near a scrapyard outside Barrow and Furnace. Well, a diesel noticed me and shunted me onto a lone siding in the yard. I thought it was all over for us.
But who would have guessed that a few days later, Mr. Douglas was our saviour?
I knew when I heard a fellow's steam engine, I had to get their attention. I appreciate you saving us, Douglas.
You're welcome, Oliver. I'm happy it came to our railway.
That was a wonderful story, Oliver. But I was wondering what happened to your old owner.
After I got back from getting fixed in my turntable incident, my driver showed me a newspaper. Apparently there was a huge story about my old owner and how he was caught for not paying his debt.
Well, there's a good and bad to this. Good that we finally came to a railway that treats us well. Bad that the old owner won't be running his business anymore.
Lucky Dulcie and I have as many passengers as we can handle.
Look there! A rainbow shining on us!
Oh, finally, the rain has stopped pouring.
My friends and I decided to head out and check the damage on the line.